Land restoration. Land restoration refers to the process of rehabilitating and revitalizing degraded, damaged, or disturbed land through various techniques such as reforestation, soil conservation, and ecosystem restoration. This can involve removing invasive species, reintroducing native vegetation, and rebuilding habitats for wildlife. The goal of land restoration is to improve the ecological health, biodiversity, and productivity of the land while also enhancing its economic and social value. Desertification. Desertification is the process of fertile land becoming desert like due to natural or human induced factors such as climate change, overgrazing, deforestation, and poor agricultural practices. This can lead to soil degradation, loss of biodiversity, and reduced ecosystem resilience. As a result, areas that were once suitable for human habitation and agriculture become increasingly arid and hostile, threatening the livelihoods of local communities. Drought resilience. Drought resilience refers to the ability of a community, ecosystem, or infrastructure to withstand and recover from the impacts of drought, including water scarcity, crop failure, and economic disruption. It involves a combination of social, economic, and environmental factors such as water storage, conservation practices, and community preparedness. Now, as we have learned about the definitions of land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience, let's talk about the steps involved in land restoration. First, conduct a thorough assessment of the land to identify the extent of the damage, including soil erosion, vegetation loss, and habitat destruction. Identify the main causes of degradation, such as overgrazing, deforestation, or pollution. Determine the existing vegetation cover, soil type, and topography of the site. Based on the assessment, develop a comprehensive restoration plan that outlines specific goals and objectives for the project. Identify the target species and habitats to be restored, as well as the desired ecological processes and functions to be re established. Determine the resources needed for restoration, including personnel, equipment, and materials. Remove any debris, trash, or invasive species from the site. Till or plow the soil to a depth of 6 to 8 inches to loosen and aerate it. Add organic matter such as compost or manure to improve soil structure and fertility. Plant native species that are suitable for the site's climate and soil conditions. Use a mix of grasses, shrubs, and trees to create a diverse and resilient ecosystem. Plant species at the correct density and spacing to ensure adequate growth and competition. Install an irrigation system that is designed to mimic natural rainfall patterns. Use drought tolerant plants and efficient irrigation techniques to minimize water waste. Implement water harvesting and storage systems to capture and store rainwater for future use. Create habitats for target species such as nesting sites for birds or burrows for small mammals. Install fencing or other barriers to exclude invasive species and protect native species. Create corridors or connectivity between habitats to allow for migration and gene flow. Monitor the site regularly to track progress and identify any issues or problems. Perform regular maintenance tasks such as pruning, weeding, and pest control. Adjust the restoration plan as needed based on monitoring results and changing conditions. Now let's talk about the steps involved in desertification. Overgrazing, excessive grazing by livestock leading to soil erosion and degradation. Overfarming, intensive farming practices that deplete the soil of nutrients and organic matter. Overlogging, excessive logging or wood harvesting that leads to soil erosion and loss of vegetation. Soil erosion, wind and water erosion remove topsoil, reducing fertility and structure. Loss of vegetation. Overgrazing, overfarming, and overlogging will lead to reduced vegetation cover, making the soil more susceptible to erosion. Climate change can lead to more frequent and severe droughts, making it difficult for vegetation to recover. Prolonged droughts can exacerbate desertification by reducing vegetation cover and increasing soil erosion. Increased human settlement and agricultural activity can lead to increased pressure on land resources. Migration of people into areas previously unaffected by desertification can lead to increased land use and degradation. Degraded soils can increase vulnerability to droughts, making it difficult for vegetation to recover. Degraded soils can also increase vulnerability to floods, as runoff can lead to soil erosion and sedimentation. Let's discuss the steps involved in building drought resilience. Establish a monitoring system to track weather patterns, soil moisture, and crop conditions. Develop early warning systems to alert farmers and communities of impending drought conditions. Develop a drought plan that outlines strategies for responding to drought, including water conservation measures, crop diversification, and emergency funding. Conduct regular drills and training exercises to ensure that responders are prepared to respond to drought related emergencies. Implement water conservation measures such as irrigation efficiency improvements, water harvesting, and rainwater storage. Develop a water management plan that gives priority to water allocation, reduces water waste, and promotes efficient use. Promote crop diversification to reduce dependence on a single crop or water source. Encourage farmers to adopt drought tolerant crops and farming practices such as conservation agriculture. Implement soil conservation measures such as contour farming, terracing, and mulching to reduce soil erosion and improve soil health. Develop a soil management plan that gives priority to soil conservation, reduces soil compaction, and promotes soil fertility. Implement livestock management practices that reduce the need for drought tolerant feeds such as grazing management and fodder conservation. Promote the use of drought tolerant feed sources such as hay or silage to reduce reliance on irrigation. Develop climate resilient infrastructure that can withstand drought conditions such as water storage systems, dams, and irrigation canals. Upgrade existing infrastructure to make it more resilient to drought conditions. As we have explored in this video, the journey to restore our land is not an easy one, but it's a journey that's worth taking. Every small step towards restoring our land is a step towards creating a more sustainable future, and every person who joins this journey is a reminder that we are not alone. We are all in this together, so let's keep moving forward together. Let's create a world where our land is thriving, our communities are strong, and our future is bright.